My name is Tim Thomas, and I'm going to show you some basic editing skills in Studio One for the Berklee Media's Introduction to Music Production course offered on Coursera.org. First thing I wanted to do was show you how to name a track, and that simply is easy as typing the name in while you're creating a new track. If you wanted to change that name, you can come over and just double click on the name, retype it and hit enter, and you're done. Next thing I wanted to do is show you how to color the tracks, because it's often very helpful to be able to group tracks by color so that all your drums are red, or maybe shades of red, and all your guitars are shades of green, or so on. Coloring a track is just as easy as clicking on the left side of the track where the color is already and going down to the color that you want for that track, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Next thing is I want to show you how to edit, and basically this region here of my vocals, as you can see, are just completely silent. There may be some clicks or pops from the room while I was waiting to record, and I just want to get rid of that. And so I can do that, and I'll show you how to zoom in here first by going like this and dragging that bar over, but also Studio One has a great feature where you can click and drag left and right to move the view of these tracks, but you can drag up and down to zoom in and out at the same time. So I really want to go to a region right before where this is, and as you can see, I can get pretty accurate because the snap is turned on. There is actually a snap to grid button right here. If I click it, I can be very precise as to where I want the cursor to be, which is great for some editing tools, but most of the time you really want to be able to snap to the grid. So that's how you do that. So the next thing is, if I want to separate this audio so that I get rid of the audio that was just dead space, I can either come up and click on the split tool and then click on a region and it will just instantly split, or I can click, and if I shift click I can select multiple tracks in a Mac, and at that point all I have to do is Option X, and those will actually be split right there at the cursor. Then I can just shift select and hit delete, and those tracks are deleted right there. Now those tracks aren't actually deleted, the regions are deleted, so I could still pull those regions back in and out. And this is a good trim feature. Let's say I wanted to trim the song a little bit more, I could turn off the snap, grab the edge of the song, and go right to there. The next thing I wanted to do is show you how to set a marker. So let's say I wanted to set a marker right here where the vocals began. Well, first I want to turn on the the marker toolbar by clicking on this flag here, and then I've got a plus and a minus, and that will add and delete markers at where the line is. And so that can be renamed. If I double click on the marker, I can say vocals start, enter, and there it is. You can see it's vocals start, and then if I play, I can actually hit Shift B and it will go back to the marker, or if I'm over here I can hit Shift N and it will go to the next marker. So again, hitting delete over here will delete the markers. Next thing I wanted to show you was how to punch. And punching is a way of editing. Let's say that there's a region here. Right here. Oh. Alright, so that I want to get rid of that. So what I could do is just come up into the edit range. You see my cursor turns into a pencil, and I'll drag right around that region there that I want to replace. And then I come down here and make sure that the auto punch is on, and it's red when it's on. So I'm going to record over the vocal track that's already there. So I'm going to engage the recording for that track, and actually that's not enough room. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room there. I come over here, I hit record. Ho ho ho, ho ho ho, ho ho ho. Okay, so I can't actually have the mic for the recording on at the same time as the mic for the screencast, so I'll go back and do that and show you what it looks like in a second. But the idea is that it didn't record anything up until this region, and then it recorded 3 takes over on top of this, and let me go do that and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm back, and you can see by these lines here that it looks like there's been some kind of editing done. Well, what was done was the looping that I went through created several new takes. You can't really see the takes, so if I actually right click over the lower left region here, I get a menu. One of the things I can do is unpack these takes. I can unpack them to tracks and do track editing, but Studio One has this really cool thing called layers. And so I'm going to unpack them to layers and show you how that works. So basically it gives me a layer for each one of these takes, and you can do this with takes as well. You can do entire takes of a song into different layers. And it's got this really, really cool editing tool where if you, and I expanded the loop here a little bit, but if you play the song, you can solo this one, and then just quickly solo that one, quickly solo that one, and decide which one was better. And it may be that part of one is better and part of another is better. This isn't really the best example, but I'm going to show you how to borrow pieces of each of the takes here. So I'm just going to, I don't have to hit any control key or anything. I'm just going to click and drag over that part right there, and that automatically promotes that up to the region. And then I'm going to click and drag on this one here, and that automatically promotes that up to the region. And so if you look up in here, and zoom in a little bit, not only do you see that it's actually promoted these pieces up into the actual track of the song, but if you zoom even more, you'll see that it automatically creates a crossfade for you. And so this is really, really important because Studio One basically doesn't give me any pops. It's great. It automatically creates crossfades. You can play with that if you don't want the crossfade quite as strong, or if you want to modify the crossfade, you can do that. And if there is a part of your music that does need a crossfade because you've actually just grabbed a track and moved it up to another track, and you really want those 2 tracks to line up and you get a pop, to create a crossfade all you have to do is hit one track and then the other track with holding shift down, and then hit the letter X, and that will create a crossfade for you. So the next thing I wanted to show you was merging. So let's say I wanted to merge all of this now together so that it was one even track. All I have to do is click on the first one, then hold Shift, Command, and then A to select all of the different takes that make up this track now. And if I right click, I get a menu and I say Merge to Audio Part.